Hey y'all, I'm Willow, and this is the Fed Up Unicorn. If you've ever felt lost hearing terms like cis, non binary, or gender dysphoria, you're not alone. So today, I'm going to walk you through some of the most commonly used terms when discussing trans people and trans related topics. A quick disclaimer before we get started, this list will just be the basics and simplified for ease. I will have a link to the source where you can find more in-depth explanations below. Also, everyone's experience is different and language evolves. These terms help describe things, not box people in. If you're learning, that is great. If you are trans and tired of explaining this 24/7, feel free to share this video instead. And if any of you find a mistake I have made, let me know. I am fallible and willing to correct myself if needed. Transgender. Someone whose gender identity is different from what is typically associated with the sex they were assigned at birth. This could mean a trans woman assigned male at birth identifies as a woman. A trans man assigned female at birth identifies as a man, or a non-binary person. These are the most common at the very least. There are also intersex conditions that change this, but that is a topic for another time. Cisgender. A person whose gender identity matches the one typically associated with the sex they were assigned at birth. Basically, the opposite of transgender. If you were labeled a female at birth, grew up as a girl, you have always felt like a girl, and grew to become a woman, you are probably cisgender, or cis for short. Gender identity. How someone feels and understands their own gender in relation to their sex. This is not the same as gender expression or what your body looks like. It is also definitely not the same as sex. Sex assigned at birth. The label given at birth, like male or female, typically assigned based on what genitalia you have. It doesn't define your gender or who you are. In fact, your sex may not even be what was originally assigned at birth. There are many factors that go into determining your actual biological sex. Non-binary. A gender identity that doesn't fit neatly into the gender categories of man and woman. Some non-binary folks are androgynous. Some are not. Some use they, them pronouns. Some don't. It is an umbrella term with lots of variations. Gender dysphoria. The distress some trans people feel because their gender identity does not match their body or how society sees them. Not every trans person has it, and it is not the same as being trans. In fact, some cis people experience it as well. But it is something some of us experience. Some of us don't even realize that it is what we have been experiencing for most of our lives. Transition. The process of aligning your external life with your gender identity. It might mean changing your name, clothes, voice, or none of these. It is deeply personal to each person. Not all trans people need the same changes. Gender expression. This is how someone presents themselves. This does not always align with a person's gender identity or sex assigned at birth. You could wear masculine clothes, be assigned female,
and B, non binary.
Dead name. Typically, the name we are given at birth, or the name we grew up with.
It can cause severe dysphoria if we're called this, sort of like when a person goes through trauma and is reminded of it years later. Please be kind.
Pronouns. Third person words used in place of someone's name.
If I'm talking about my mother and don't want to use her name or use the words my mother over and over, I use the word her as it best describes her and is the word she would prefer to be called. These words are not meant to intimidate or complicate things. They help us understand each other. If you are learning, that is awesome and very much appreciated. If any of you have corrections for me or terms to define, let me know. I will be diving into more trans-related topics here on the Fed Up Unicorn, including deeper explainers on some of these terms. So, please subscribe, share this with someone who could use it, and let's keep the conversation going. Until then, see you all in the next video.